Get it? Got it? Good.
Jeff, ready?
Yep.
Nick, ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Another Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and Nick Insulter, Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, I'm my co-host Nick Spill Stoll. And Jeff, no, seriously, Nick, that was brutal, Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts.
No, seriously,
Dude,
that was brutal.
Yeah, dude, we get it. It was a low score. I called it.
This is not the end of this, Nick. Don't you worry.
Kind of disappointed. I wanted that fourth round too. You get it?
No, whatever, dude. 51 is not okay.
That does lead right into our Week 6 money prediction winner. We got the least starting points for Nick at 51.66. Tony almost scored 200 a couple weeks ago, and now we got a game almost at 50. We're almost quadding up, best to worst.
Okay, I get it.
I had to laugh at Sting's comment of he wanted Big Ben to throw a pick so Nick would be sub 50. When I saw that, I started dying.
The crazy part is, like, that probably means that it could happen sooner or later we're going to get a sub 50 field goal or a sub 50 score.
Oh my God. It hurt. I don't wish that upon anyone except for John Lamers, my rival.
I'm just glad Nick, you took the lowest score from me and I only had to suffer a few weeks. So thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. I did it for you, really. And the fourth round pick. That's really the reason I did it.
Hashtag for the fourth.
Yep.
All right. So this upcoming week, Week 7, we got the highest margin of victory. Whoever can pull the biggest blowout out of their hat, we'll make our predictions on that coming up. But for now, let's hop right into it.
This here's the Radish Recap.
All right, the Radish Recap. We got I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe taking on the Tank Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll. The lefties were a 16-point favorite. Nick won the money with the 51.66, and Kyle would have won the money if it was this week, 136, an almost 80-point victory. Jeff, why don't I toss it over your way first? What are you seeing on Monroe's side?
On Monroe's side, that RB2 spot was a little weak, and McKinnon obviously was just a shot in the dark there, so didn't quite pay off, but didn't really have to when you're going against Nick over there. So, but CeeDee Lamb had some nice points in OT. Kyler Murray had just another consistent week, and Tyreek Hill had that touchdown to kind of save his day. So, definitely did more than he needed to, and was able to pull off a pretty easy win against Nick there.
Hey, don't call Jerry McKinnon a shot in the dark. That would have been a downright respectable running back on Nick's team. Looking at Nick's side, I mean, it's interesting when you see the 51.66 points. I assume that a couple guys got hurt, maybe a zero, something happened where you couldn't fill a spot. And this is kind of in jest, but also nobody did nothing. You got 4, 5, 6, 8 points. That happens to people all the time. I mean, Mike Evans put up 3.5 points for me last week, and it's that happens. It just happened to all happen at once. There was nothing fluky. It was just a string of 9 consecutive bad lucks, one for each player. So, Nick, do you got any other comments, or do you want to just move on as quick as possible?
Just get out of here.
We got one more
thing
we got to hit, though,
but
Coach of the Week.
So, Nick, you had to know this one was coming, buddy. This is just an absolute brutal week, worst in the league history. You talk about guys you're scraping by just to get your quarterback into double figures there. So, for that, man, you're the worst coach this week, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I deserve it. I deserve all of it.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Benny and the Jets and Coach Ben Stelzer taking on Grizzly Adams and Coach Alex Cooley. The Jets came into this as the 8-point favorite and took the 140-88 victory. All of us picked this one right last week. Nick, why don't I toss it over to you first? What are you seeing on Benny's side?
On Benny's side, I mean, that Hunt injury really hurts. I mean, you didn't really need him for this game, but Cooper Kupp continues to roll with, I think, a pair of touchdowns there, one of them pretty late. His team looks good. Gesicki looked good there. He's looking like worth the first round trade. Yeah. So Ben's looking good. We'll see how bye weeks hit him next week, but he's looking good. He looked good this week.
Yeah, and you wonder if Mike Gesicki's going to be able to keep it up once some of those receivers start getting healthy. You know, they had three of their top 4 receivers out for this game. You have to imagine Will Fuller is going to come back eventually. Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, all those guys are going to be on the field before long, and then it'll be the real test of if he can keep doing stuff like this because he's been solid. Other side of the ball, Jeff, you know, Cooley's starting 3 backup running backs that he just traded for, right? You know, a lot of change on his side of the ball. What you see?
Yeah, that's kind of at the early slate of the games, those backup running backs are really producing, getting a lot of touchdowns, it seemed like. But, you know, what you see on here that you don't ever really see is Lamar Jackson with a down week. And usually Cooley's wide receiver group is the one that carries them. And other than Deontay Johnson, really, there's nothing too good on that side. So a lot of change, Mike. You're right. You know, his lineup looks a lot different. Some names in there that you don't normally see, and didn't pay off for him this week.
Yeah, I'm sure Cooley's hoping that the Zach Ertz trade leads to a couple extra targets because Devontae Smith's been pretty up and down. If he can maybe get a couple more, he'll balance out a little bit. And sorry, Cooley, for calling Myles Gaskin a backup running back. He's technically a starting running back.
Maybe not this week though.
All 9 rush yards.
Oh God.
Moving on to our next game, we got Cobra Kai and Coach Kyle Stankowski taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs and Coach Troy Hecht and Joe Harper. Cobra Kai came into this one as a 6-point favorite, did not cover it just barely, 120-115. The Dogs did just enough to keep it tight. Jeff, I'll toss this to you first. What'd you see on Kyle's side of the ball?
Yeah, Hurts had a nice game with 25 up there from his QB spot. Kind of a surprising one. You know, he had those 2 big rushing touchdowns really to catapult his score up, but you know, Thielen, another good game. Adams, you know, a modest, just under 11 points, usually is a little bit north of that. And kind of an interesting thing with Dawson Knox getting hurt there, you know. It's going to be interesting how long he's out. And, you know, I don't know if Kyle would play him with TJ Hawkinson on his bench or not, but he ran into a couple injuries with Knox and Tony there that really kind of hurt him, so.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I heard a stat today about Devontae Adams. He's second in the league in I don't know how the best way to put this, but basically how many touchdowns he should have given how many yards he has. He's second worst. So basically he's put up a ton of yards, but only 2 scores. And for a guy that had, I think, 17 touchdowns last year, just an insane number. Right. So that really flipped the other way. So he's been disappointing for what you kind of expected to him in some ways. Nick, Mud Dogs did just enough to stick around to, you know, cover the spread, but not enough to win. What'd you see there?
Right, yeah, Mahomes mixing, as always. That's his backbone right now. Sanders has been surprising this year. I want to see if that keeps up with – I don't know what the dig total was last week. We'll see that in a couple matchups here. Kirk had a good game. It seems like it's hit or miss with him. That receiving core is tough. I don't know who's going to go off each day. You got A.J. Green there, too. He seems to have a solid game. Then he'll have a down game, speaking on Kyle's side of the ball. Oh, actually, that brings me to my point. My GTA, baby.
Nick's garbage time all-star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
So A.J. Green scored, I think it was like 5 minutes left. They're already way up on Cleveland here. Salvaged a decent game. I mean, I think Kai started him last week and laid a dud, 1.9 points, something like that, and then took him out of the lineup this week and could have covered, I think, if he put him in there for Tony. So, yep. Come on, Kyle.
GTA, baby.
GTA, baby.
Yeah, and for the Mud Dogs, Pat Fryermuth got 7 catches this game. I don't know if he had what he had for targets. I want to say it was 7, but yeah, seven targets, 7 catches. Finally got involved in that Pittsburgh offense. The Mud Dogs drafted 2 rookie tight ends and might be starting flexing them both. It's actually going to maybe run into a problem if Fryermuth were to take off because he's got Dalton Schultz there too.
What does he do?
Can only start 2. You have too many tight ends. They're all so good. What do I do? I bet you will. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on the Archduke Fish and Coach Mike Fisher. This one was a dead even line. The football team won this one 140 to 130. We all picked this wrong. We all had some faith in me. I lose the inaugural Fish Bowl. Which does mean I have to buy Tony some fish bowls and also take the name of
Fish 2?
Fish 2.
Oh! Oh no!
Fish 2.
Oh god!
That hurts.
So until next year's Fish Bowl, hopefully it's like week 4 or very early, I will be Fish 2 for my team abbreviation, and Tony gets to take the mantle as Fish.
That's good.
I kind of knew. I wouldn't say I knew, but the Thursday night game when Tom Brady and Mike Evans just didn't have a great game. 20 points combined between them. Right then was kind of when I had the feeling of like, that's tough because starting Robert Woods how he's been, starting Marquise Brown, T. Higgins, they all were kind of boom busty this week. Mm-hmm. So I just instantly had that feeling when your first one doesn't hit, now instead of 2 out of 4, it's 2 out of 3 that have to, and it just started to feel uneasy. Obviously still a great scoring game. I'm really happy with 130 points on the week. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor have been extremely consistent and right there for me. So, I had 3, 10, 5 points from my receivers and my flex, and because of those 2, I'm still, 3rd, 4th highest scorer on the week. So, not happy about a loss, but this isn't one to be really too frustrated about. So, Nick, what about Tony's side of the ball? What you see in there?
Alan, good start as always. Jefferson only 10 points in that 34-28 game. That's a little bit surprising. No touchdown there. Waddle was a good pick. I think we all picked Waddle, but I think Parker was out anyways, right? So
yeah.
Good pick on our part then.
Yeah, great pick.
Right here, baby.
Thinking ahead, baby. Baby, the stud there. So he looked good this week. I mean, 140 points, 2 good teams, 2 high scores.
Yeah, definitely. It came right down to the end. Even last night, there was a chance right to the end that maybe Josh Allen would throw a pick and Derrick Henry would run in his 4th touchdown. As insane as that sounds, but the game script was there. Where
the season
where
or just the game?
Yeah, right.
No, this week. Why?
Yeah.
Jeff, any last thoughts on this one?
No, just a fun game to watch. You guys had the highest scoring matchup between anyone this week, and kind of what we expected there. Just a cool matchup between 2 fishes.
Yeah, and you two get the benefit that, me and Tony were playing. The group chat between the 4 of us is the one that we talk the most football in, probably. So it's us going back and forth the whole time. So I mean, it's a fantasy game, but you guys actually got to watch it as close as you could.
Yeah. Emotional roller coasters.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next one. We got Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory taking on Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers. Ball came into this one as a 16-point favorite and doubled that up with the 129-90 victory. Over doubled it up. Jeff had some faith in himself. Didn't pay off again, but someday,
baby.
One of these
believing.
You're gonna knock that one out of the park. Maybe this week. Who knows? But no, Jeff, I'll toss it your way first. I'm actually give you John's side of the ball though. What'd you see there?
Yeah, that Stafford Henderson connection. As soon as I think Stafford threw his 3rd one or something like that, and it went to Henderson for a touchdown, I was kind of like, there goes a lot of the hope right there. Just a nice connection. And Najee Harris had just a nice game with 21.7. And other than that, he he got enough out of his tight end slot, and Chase with 11.7. So, just gotta. He scores 130 points. You're going to win most weeks. Unfortunately, Mike, you didn't that last week, but my
Except
team
you.
just except you. Most people do, but not you. Hopefully, not you this
I
week.
can't
too.
win when I score 130, 140. I just don't win.
But John, it was a big win because he's still in the hunt there at 2-4. If he drops down to 1-5, it's doesn't look good for him.
It's tough.
Yeah, John's definitely one of those teams, and I think I fall into this category too, where we really need to pick up a couple, get to 500, and have it happen quick because talented teams, but taking some losses early. That Ricky Seals-Jones touchdown was just fun to watch. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he just you could almost tell it's just a guy that like is super excited to finally get an opportunity. Like he just looked fun. Jeff trading for Jalen Reagor, getting that 0 right away. He had probably 3 plays that he very easily could have had for 40, 50 yards. A pass interference on 1 or 2 of them. Jalen Hurts, I don't think had a single pass anywhere even close to him. So that was part of it. But he was open. He had it there. So, no, honestly, not a bad week from you, Jeff, especially when you're looking at the top. It's a week that it hurt to not have Calvin Ridley because the way some of the rest of your guys played, maybe if he's, sitting in there instead of Rager or instead of, you wouldn't take Terry out, he got hurt. But
Right.
that could make a big change, and that could, the depth seemed to kind of get to you a little bit this week. So, Nick, any last thoughts on this one?
Just Harris. That's a nice trade there, Jeffy. New England looks pretty good. You surprised me. So that's all I got.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Lick McCaff on my deck. Coach Jordan Chartier taking on Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas. McCaff was a 2-point favorite in this one. Jord came in and took the 141-101 win. Nick, I'm going to throw it to you first. Jordan's side of the ball.
Jordan's team's looking good even without McCaffrey in there. Who knew Fournette was going to pop off and step in there and pretty much fill his shoes? He had some great games here. Marvin Jones back to life. I don't know what that win against Miami. That was decent. Sutton continues to perform. His team looks pretty solid. I mean, you wouldn't expect it. They do have low floors, a lot of his players, but when he hits, he hits.
Yeah, and it'll be curious to see, Tyrod Taylor's going to be coming back. He was really good with Brandon Cooks, those two together. Jerry Jeudy's going to be coming back. That'll definitely change Cortland Sutton's role there. And Leonard Fournette, I don't think there's any reason why he shouldn't keep control of that backfield like he's had, but we've kind of seen this before where a guy goes on a 3-game run and Bruce Arians just says, it's Ronald Jones time. It's Ronald Jones time.
It's time. It's time.
The other thing too for Jordan's side is if Gronk gets back in that tight end slot, that's about the only spot consistently on his lineup that has been subpar. So if you get a guy in there that is, obviously, or one of Tom Brady's top options, it's only going to make his lineup more dangerous.
Yeah, and Jeff, why don't you keep going right there on the other side of the ball and Joe's side? There's a lot of talent, guys that I liked preseason, but they're just not doing it for him.
Yeah, like DJ Moore, he was off just to a fantastic start there, and the last couple of weeks is just kind of right have been around where he's at right now, right around 8.4. Not a great week by any means. They had a lot of drops in this game. I didn't get to watch it too much, but the few times that they cut to it, the announcers just kept peppering that comment that Sam Darnold hasn't got any help, and every time they did it, it looked like it was a drop pass, and I know DJ Moore was a part of that. But even Burrow, you like to see what you saw to him with getting your 23 points, and Noah Fant. That's why you make that trade. You hope you have games like this, and he got a late touchdown in there to get him up over 20 points. So just a couple good showings, just not enough though from everyone in his full team there.
Yeah, for sure. So with all that out of the way, our current standings, Nick had a solid week at 4-2, took the lead at dead even, 18-18. I'm 1 game back, 17-19, and Jeff starting to trickle toward the back with a 2-4 week, 15-21.
There's time.
Bye, Jeff.
Get that double up in there. He'll be back in no time.
Yep.
True.
All right, well, with that, let's look ahead.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
Husky League matchups. We got I Am Left-Handed at 5-1, taking on Lick McCaffamadak at 3-3. The lefties are a 23-point favorite in this one, which surprised me. Nick, I'll toss it over to you first. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, I'm saying the lefties don't cover. I mean, you got Freeman Patterson in there. We got some buys, some injuries on Kyle's side. I don't know if Julio is Julio going to play?
I'd be surprised if he did.
I'd be surprised. I don't know that I've seen anything that says that, but it would surprise me.
He's got a hamstring right now, so I don't think it looks too good.
Ernest Johnson in there too. I mean, for Kyle's lineup, this doesn't look like a Kyle's lineup, right? He's got a lot of, like we talked about, injuries and bye weeks. So I'm gonna say Lick My Dad and Calf is gonna keep it within that 23 points.
Yeah, I look at Tyreek Hill against Tennessee. He's going to go absolutely electric. Kyler Murray against Houston. It just all depends if those touchdowns come from him or if they decide to run it out. If they're up too big. But I think he's going to get his. I think he's going to eat that defense up. So some really good matchups on this side. But I'm going to actually I tend to agree with you, Nick. I think that 23 is a bit too much. I'm going to take Jordan to cover this. Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you guys, and which is surprising because normally we're all three picking Kyle, it seems like. But I just I like what I see out of Jordan's side, and I'm going to roll with him this week.
That makes sense. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Ball is Life at 2-4, taking on Grizzly Adams at 3-3. This game is dead even right now. It's sitting like 112 to 112 in projections, and I think that's part of the reason that it is our
Hot diggity dog! It's the game of the week.
So, Nick, why don't I toss it over to you first? What you seen in the game of the week?
Yeah, game of the week here. Both need a win bad. Ball is Life. John to stay in the hunt here. His record doesn't reflect how good his team is, I don't think. And Cooley's that same way. I think he's lost the last 3 in a row. Is that right, Mike?
Yep.
Yes. So, that's a bad trend coming. So he's got to right the ship here.
This would be to be 3 in a row. So he lost the last 2. This would be the third.
Yeah. Right. I think I'm going to go with John on this one. You look at the starting running backs. I mean, Williams played great last week, and it's kind of, as a Clyde owner in a different league, I was like, okay, why can't you do that with Clyde, So Henderson, great week. They go against Detroit. Oof, baby, Stafford should go off too. I got Ball's Life, baby.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm going to throw it over to you first. How about, what about you? What are you seeing in this one?
I am also going to go with Ball is Life. I like that Stafford revenge game against the Lions, even though he says it's not going to be personal, but the dude's going to ball out. You just know that. Oh, yeah. And even Metcalf, too, I think he's going to get right this week, and I think he's going to have a big game against the Saints. So, with the Geno, yeah.
Yeah, what? I got him starting, baby.
Yep. So I just see too much firepower from John's side, and yeah, that's good. That's why I'm rolling with him.
Yeah, I'm going John too. I really do think that he's going to have the better squad. I think, we'll get in. They got a couple start sits that we're going to get to for some of those end positions, but I think where it matters, John just has enough that he's not going to have a problem this week. Matt Stafford says it's not a revenge game. I honestly don't think it is a revenge game. If I'm him and I get traded away from the Lions to the Rams, like,
thank you.
I'm like, thanks guys. I won't even throw a single touchdown. Like this one's for you. I'm gonna give you a nice close game. Like
I'll hand it off to Henderson the whole time.
Yeah, just, you guys want to fumble? You take one. Yeah. You guys deserve that. So, but yeah, if it isn't Stafford, it's going to be Henderson. I think one way or another, points are going to get put up in that game. So that's where I'm going. So why don't we hop got a start-sit question on each side. Nick, I'm going to throw this one to you first because I think it plays directly into
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off!
So Cooley's wondering. He's got to pick 2 of his 3 running backs, Mike Davis, Chase Edmonds, or Myles Gaskin. Pick 2 out of the 3. Nick, I know one when you're not picking.
I don't even know if I'm not picking because that's terrible options all the way around.
That's true.
I have Edmonds as my bum of the week. It's half of what the projected total is what we're going for here. Connor looked pretty good last week. He had some good rushes. Edmonds is a little hurt too. I think what was the break? I don't know what the breakdown is for attempts. I think Chase Edmonds was pretty low last week. 4 rushing attempts. Granted, it was.
Yeah, but they got up big too.
Not a close game, yeah. But Connor has looked this whole season. I think Connor's looked good. So
you don't think they're going to get up big quick against Houston, though?
Oh yeah.
Also very true. I mean, I would start Davis there. Oh God, I hate Gaskin so much. I think I'm going Gaskins over Edmonds just to play into the bum of the week. I hate Gaskins.
Not because you believe it, just because of that.
No. Yeah.
Jeff, what do you think of that?
So when I first looked at this, I thought he was saying Davis as like Corey Davis, but you guys, it makes more sense being Mike Davis. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I probably keep it with Chase Edmonds and Gaskins. So I think Cordell Patterson is kind of taking over that backfield there. So, I don't know how much Mike Davis is going to be in there. So those are the 2 I'm going to roll with. And I think that Chase Edmonds last week was mostly game script. They got up. He was a little banged up. Hopefully he had some good recovery this week. And, I think they'll get up big against the Texans anyways, but I think they'll utilize him a lot more this week. So that's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, and I'm my thought process. This is gonna be the least helpful thing because I'm picking the only combination that hasn't been picked yet. But I'm going. I'm playing Chase Edmonds. I think we think of NFL games as they get up, all they do is run, run, run. But they're also going to throw. In the NFL today, a swing pass to the running back is basically a run play. That's how they view it. It's not thinking it might stop the clock. You count it as a guaranteed reception. So I don't think Chase Edmonds just disappears if they're up big in that game. And so I'd probably stick with him. They got a high implied point total. They should score a lot in that game. And then the other 2, Gaskin and Mike Davis, they're playing against each other. So at that point, I'm picking the team that I think is going to win. I think Atlanta's going to win. Miami's just looked entirely out of sorts. I think actually Atlanta's going to take that game. So I'd play Mike Davis.
Yeah, and he's getting a decent amount of carries. 13, not a decent, but I don't know. It's a gross combination all around.
Yeah, so John also has a start-sit, so he's wondering Mecole Hardman, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Bryan Edwards for his wide receiver 3 spot. This one I don't have as high of an opinion on because I think they're all moonballs. To me, if OBJ sits, maybe you play Peoples-Jones. But he's also going to have a backup quarterback thrown to him. So
yeah, I'm out on that.
Bryan Edwards, Mecole Hardman. Who the Chiefs got this week? Tennessee.
Titans.
I play Mecole Hardman. I'd play Mecole Hardman. Jeff,
just for the matchup, say?
I think so. Yeah. With all these guys, I'm hoping for one big play, something like that. Tennessee's offense is going to put up a bunch of points. So
that's what I'm saying.
I imagine Kansas City will have plenty of opportunity. So maybe the highest odds of a big play. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got one. I'm going Hardman as well here. I mean, in that Buffalo game, what was the score of that game? I don't even remember. The Buffalo KC game.
31-28 right? Or something like that. 31-34.
Another high-scoring game. Mecole Hardman had 12 targets and 9 receptions. You just got to pray for another one like that. With this another high-scoring game against these 2 terrible, terrible defenses. I mean, the rest of them, I would not start Peoples-Jones. Oh, God. Not with
if Baker was in there, would you, though?
Both the running backs out, too? I don't even know. I think that's going to be just a gross game.
You think so?
I don't want any part of that offense.
I was kind of leaning Peoples-Jones. I can see I think it's a toss, and you're just guessing at that point between Hardman and Peoples-Jones. So for the sake of being a little bit different than what you guys picked, I'll go with Peoples-Jones.
Perfect.
Just for that reason.
No analysis, just Jones, baby.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the Taint Ticklers at 2-4 taking on the SCLSU Mud Dogs at 3-3. Taint Ticklers came into this one as the 1-point favorite. Jeff, what are you seeing in this one?
It's the year of the Taint. Still, I'm rolling with Spill. It bit me in the ass last week, but that's partly my doing, not as well. So, but you got Kamara. He's back in the lineup there. Nick, Pittman, Godwin. I think Shepard's going to have a good week for some reason. I really like that matchup. I don't know. At some point, Robinson has got to do good, and you're going to probably have to keep playing him. I don't know if you got any other options on your bench, but at some point he's going to catch a touchdown and he's going to get 80 plus yards and 6 receptions or something and have a decent outing. So I think there's too many well-known names on your side, so that's where I'm leaning.
Yeah, for me in this one, I'm gonna go ahead and take Troy in this one, and honestly, a big part of it is because Geno Smith put up 10 points last week. He's going to be going up against New Orleans. Patrick Mahomes is going up against Tennessee. We've just talked about it being a high-scoring game. Like at that alone, it's tough to overcome. Like, let's say they score 30 and 10. Like, it's tough to overcome 20 points at the quarterback position. That really is. You always want your quarterback putting up 17, 18, so that even if somebody goes off, 12 points, that's okay.
It's doable.
But 20 points, that's enough for me to take Troy in this one, and to think that a lot of his other guys can at least keep pace. So I'm taking the Mud Dogs. Jeff, how about you?
Nick, but yeah.
Nick. Oh, Nick, yeah.
Hello, I'm Jeff.
I forgot who went.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I'm not happy with Geno Smith and a hurt Gibson. We saw what happened last week. I think I got to take me because it's 1 point. I don't love it. I mean, you look at you look at Troy's lineup here. Cole, Kirk, I don't know if he's going to hit again. You got Moore in there. Le'Veon Bell, Slayton. I mean, pretty gross stuff. You're looking on both sides. It's going to be a low-scoring game. So I'm going to take me just because I have to, I think.
If Gibson's out, who are you? Would you put
oh, God, who knows?
Felton in there and just a shot?
I'd have to. Yeah, I'd have to with both those running backs being out.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to, if you make that decision, I mean, Felton plays tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
God,
the
I forgot about that. Maybe I do that and then just throw Gibby in for A-Rob, because who really cares if I sit A-Rob? Of course he's going to go off for it being a touchdown, like Jeff was saying.
He's playing against Tampa Bay. Can't run.
Yeah.
Got to pass.
That's part of the reason I think they're just going to sling it around, and they haven't done that with Fields yet, but you have to. You can't run against that defense.
I know. Oh, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll figure it out tomorrow.
All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got the Aaron Rodgers football team at 5-1 taking on Benny and the Jets at 4-2. The Jets are a 7-point favorite in this one. This is a big, exciting matchup, right? 5-1 team, 4-2 team. Or is it a matchup where I see Andy Dalton in the starting lineup right now? We have Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs in the starting lineup, both on bye. Tony's side, 2 quarterbacks, a running back, a wide receiver. It's this game of 2 teams that put up like 130 pretty normally, projected sub 90 both ways. So not as exciting as maybe it was anticipated to be. But Jeff, I'm gonna throw it over to you first. What do you see in this one?
Yeah, it might be a preview of a potential playoff matchup when they got full strength lineups, and then we'll really see the battle between. But I'm gonna roll with Tony. He's been hot. I think he'd said he won 5 in a row. So I like Waddle. I like what I saw out of AB too. Mark Andrew just eats. And then those 2 Detroit running backs in there. I know the Rams have a really good defense, but I think there's enough room to play both of them. So I like a couple of Tony's choices, even though he's limited, that he does have in that starting lineup. So that's the way I'm leaning.
Yeah, he does not have. I'm just looking down. Unless he's playing Anthony Ferkser, he doesn't have much else for an option other than playing those two guys. So maybe Jeremy McNichols to catch a couple passes in that Tennessee Kansas City game.
Elijah Moore maybe as a shot in the dart too.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, he almost has to play those two and take the capped upside of that whole backfield. But but Ben's side of the ball isn't looking all too much better without Dalvin Cook and Stephon Diggs. I think he has Tyler Boyd to pop into one of those spots, which is fine. Russell Gage, like
Connor.
Yeah, so that's not great options over there either. So Ben is the 1 point favorite. Or no, Ben's the 7 point favorite.
Is that an accurate line with all the?
Yeah, so I swapped in the players off his bench to make that line.
Yeah,
because in the thing it shows like 1 point or something like that. But I factored in Davis Mills, assuming no one's going to come after that blockbuster.
Yeah. That blockbuster.
You never know. Like we said, Ben might try to counter it right at the last second and steal it. Andy Dalton, QB1.
QB1, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, no.
No, I'll go with
Mike's against the expert's pick.
Are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
I'll take Tony to cover it. I think he'll be close enough, tight enough in this one. Nick, what about you? What do you see in this one?
I'm going Benny and the Jets, baby. I don't like Tony's team at all this week. I mean, maybe with I don't like either one, to be honest.
I don't like this at all.
I don't like that one bit. Is Parker actually going to play? I mean, oh God, we'll see.
He's going to Elijah Mitchell or Elijah Moore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Doubling up on that backfield we talked about. Don't love it. I think there's enough for Ben. 7 is still pretty steep because it's going to be pretty tight, but I got a feeling about Benny and the Jets.
He's got a feeling. All right, moving on to our next matchup. We got Jay's Juggernauts at 0-6 taking on the Archduke Fish at 2-4. Dukes are a 24-point favorite in this one. I like my odds here, boys. I don't know. I'm feeling it.
I think we're all on board with that. And if Jeff says no, I don't.
I'm gonna take myself to cover this one. I think my boys are gonna roll this week, and I think we really need it. So, Nick, how about you?
Same. I love the matchups. Yeah, there's not much to be said in comparing these two teams. Sorry, Jeff.
I'm actually for the. I think the first week I'm gonna roll with. I'm gonna do a little reverse psychology. I'm gonna go with Mike's team this week.
Ooh, he's gonna psych me out.
Yeah, I got a player in here too, Mike, that I want to highlight. So that plays.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier. Just your running backs being super consistent, and Jonathan Taylor last week just had a huge outing. Scores 28.3 points. I'm thinking this week against who does he have here real quick, my computer? Against a 49ers defense who has been good historically, but I just think that guy's on a roll. He's on a tear, so he's going to just keep cooking. He's going to put up 20 points, and that's going to play into you covering this large margin.
Large margin.
I also think that this is going to be the largest margin in.
Oh shoot! I totally forgot about that.
I also do. This was going to be my pick for it. I would have entirely forgot.
Yeah.
Well, same, I guess.
You only got one game left to play. You can go back and just say this is the one I picked, but no, can't say it. We're already past.
Yeah,
those are the rules.
It's all live.
Got him.
All right. Moving on to our last matchup, we got Cobra Kai at 4-2 taking on Old Man Joe at 3-3. Cobra is the 5-point favorite in this one. Nick, I'm going to send it your way first. What do you see?
I have got Kai covering that 5 points. Devonta Adams is going to get right. Mitchell's taking over that backfield again, right?
I think so.
From what I saw.
Yeah, he seemed to.
Yeah, I think I don't love Hawkinson. He hasn't been consistent, but they're going to have to throw the ball. AJ Green, I think it's the start. I don't think he's going to underperform like he did 2 weeks ago, Kyle. So you're good.
Let's roll right into that. He's got the start-sit question of AJ Green and Rondale Moore. Is that where you'd go? Is AJ Green?
Yeah. Yes. The what is it? I think the percent snap breakdown. AJ Green's at like 91% right now, then Moore is at like 50 something. So just off of that, I feel like I'm gonna roll with my odds there.
Jeff, is you agreeing with that, or would you flip to the other side?
Yeah, no, I had AJ Green picked as well, so that I didn't realize he was in that for 91% of the time. So that
I didn't either until I clicked.
Solidifies my choice of AJ Green. So
yeah, and for me, it's a toss-up. If I had a coin here, I'd flip it, and that's where I'd go. I don't really see. I see the path where AJ Green gets one touchdown on one of his catches, and it's his game. I see another one where they're way up and they throw. Only passes they throw are tight to the line of scrimmage, and Rondale Moore gets a couple that he can break. I think it's a toss-up. I think both have the same path, so I'm happy with AJ Green. I'd go clean sweep there. Jeff, as far as this matchup, what are you seeing?
I'm going to roll with Kai and the 5 points there. You know, Nick, you did a good job going through his lineups, but I just think you look over at Joe's side of the ball. I'm not loving what I'm seeing out of Sanders. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon are in a 50-50 split. You really never know who's going to get that touchdown or who's going to score. A.J. Brown has an injury right here. I don't know if he'll play or not, but he's also rolling with Ayuk, which you've seen hasn't been a very good play. So this might be the week it hits. It might not be. So I think, like you mentioned, Adams gets right, and Elijah Mitchell took over that backfield, and whoever's in that backfield just seems to perform week in and week out. So there's enough there for me to pick the guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip to the other side here. I think I'm gonna take Joe in this one. I think this is a get right game for Miles Sanders. Las Vegas isn't quite as stout of a run D. I think he'll have a chance to make some plays. I think they still have given him. He's on the field. He's doing stuff. I think they got to go back to him. They can't just keep not running the ball. So I think it's a get right game for him. I think AJ Brown and DJ Moore both have nice weeks. I'll bounce back for DJ and AJ in that great matchup we've talked about a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna take Joe to go ahead and cover this one. So. With all those matchups done, we actually did sit down with Tony in a quick little interview, so I'm going to hop over to that right now. All right, welcome in to Tony, our special guest this week. How's it going, Tony?
Going well. How are things, fellas?
Oh, things are good. Things are things.
Things are okay, I guess.
Can't complain.
Things are probably not great for Nick, but that's we'll get into that in other parts of the show. But
true.
No, happy to have you on, Tony. We're getting back into our segments of trying to bring people on, and this is an especially special week. I feel like to have you come and talk about your team. So hope you're jacked.
Yeah, I'll fire it up. Let's get going.
Jeff, why don't you lead us off?
All right, Tony. Talk us through about coming off 5 wins in a row, and of those wins, one of them being the highest score in league history.
Sure. Well, obviously, it's nice to get a couple points on the board after the start to the season the team saw. So I think there was a little bit of an emotional battle in the locker room for a little bit, and kind of used as a springboard here. So, it's good. We're riding hot right now. We're starting to reevaluate things a little bit. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, we were still a young team with some gaps to fill. People are coming through. Kids are developing. I think we're starting to look towards the end of the season a little bit more than maybe we had planned coming into it. So, feeling good.
That's good.
Fantastic coach speak. Couple acquisitions in there too. Maybe bringing some veteran leadership to the locker room.
Classic coach talk.
AB is the perfect veteran leader for young guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly right. The emotional stability in the locker room keeps these guys focused on what's going on.
Stability from
These are
AB.
the guys we need.
That's why I traded for him. All right, I got that next question for you here, Tony.
Sure.
So this week is a brutal bye week for you. I mean, you got Herbie, Eckler, Allen, Jefferson, and then Juju, obviously. But we'll talk about that. Did this bye weeks affect, like, at the beginning of the season, how your strategy was? Did you plan for this prior to the start of the season at all, or are you just rolling with it? Because right now it seems like kind of just rolling with it.
Sure, and honestly, it was more of a wait and see. Like I mentioned kind of earlier in the interview, it's at the beginning of the season there were some growing pains that were going to be a little anticipated, some gaps here and there, and honestly, it wouldn't have been unwarranted to have a lower scoring week and just try to battle through it. Kind of going through it. And now we're getting a little bit closer to the scenario where, like I touched on earlier, things are getting a little bit more aggressive for a postseason plan. We want to make sure we're not dropping games that we don't need to be. So sure, there was probably a little bit of kicking the can down the road and ended up catching up with us a little bit. But I think we've been able to power through the some of the transactional ways we can keep moving through things here. So
yeah, for sure. We're going to jump into to your segment a little earlier than we do on maybe some other interviews. So why don't I toss this over to you?
Tony's Investment Insights.
3-4 times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I forgot what that drop was.
I did too. I like it.
One of my favorites. Sure. So honestly, I thought we'd kind of back up a little bit, and I thought we'd follow up on what we talked about last time. I kind of, as much as I hated doing it and as much as I hate talking about it more than I have to, Kyle Monroe got a little bit of a pat on the back last season for starting to lean in towards spending some capital now to take a push in the near future here. And although we didn't quite get across the finish line last season, I thought it was still a good, fruitful effort. And even if you look on the back end, getting out of some of those assets with Tyler Lockett ended up being a good time to kind of divest out of that and use some of the other wide receiver assets he picked up. I think he did a good job there, in and out, just making some good timing transactions for what he was going for. Looking forward, more recently, I kind of wanted to focus on Mike's transaction, actually. I mean, he had the same idea, a clear goal in mind for spending some future capital to try to lean into the now with the big Derrick Henry acquisition. And even though the wins haven't quite come yet, the points speak for themselves and the value's still there, even though the overall outcome's not quite what we expected. I think a little bit of bad luck's to blame there, and a little bit can't really blame the acquisition too much. I think long term it's going to be pretty close to what we've seen successful transactions look like.
Yes, capital gains, tax.
Exactly. Right.
Well, in the spirit of Tony's investment insights, we're gonna do a little side segment here. I don't got a drop. I don't got anything special, but how about a little version of buy, sell, hold, Tony? So we're gonna fire off some names at you, 2 each, and we're gonna just. I want from you. Should somebody be looking to buy this player? Should the owner be looking to sell this player? Or should the owner be looking to hold this player? So
sure.
Why don't we start it off? Nick, how about you?
Yeah, so one name I have, it's actually on my team right now because I'm doing a pretty shitty. I got some bad luck. Allen Robinson and Keenan Allen haven't been performing. So what do you think about Kamara? Do I buy, sell, or hold? Well, trade away or hold, really, in my opinion.
Sure. So if you're looking to fill a gap at the wide receiver position, that might make sense. I mean, you're definitely going to get a pretty good bang for your buck with Kamara. I mean, there's no doubt to his value there. I think it would require the right trade partner, willing to part with somebody that's going to give you the value that Kamara is there. But I think selling in this specific situation makes a reasonable amount of sense if you get the value out of it. A conditional sell.
Ooh.
Jeff, how about you?
Yeah. not a guy on my team by any means, but just a guy that's been, a top prosecutor for a lot of years and kind of has a rough season so far. But Julio Jones, Tony, what are your thoughts there? Are you buying, selling, or holding that player? He's had that top end quality wide receiver 1 seasons. A little bit older in age now, but I think there's still room there. So just want to hear your thoughts.
Sure. I think honestly Julio Jones is one of the poster childs for a hold in my opinion. I think trying to sell Julio Jones, even with the right person looking for a wide receiver there, I think it's going to be tough to get any kind of upside and get any value out of that trade. Honestly, I just think holding, seeing how that offense develops in terms of target shares. I mean, obviously it's some other very good athletes that are going to be also trying to get fed in this offense in a very clear run-heavy offense, right? I mean, he's not with Matt Ryan knocking the ball down to him and just hoping things go well quite as much anymore. It doesn't happen that way, but he's still a generational athlete. I think holding makes sense just to kind of see how things pan out.
All right, Tony. The next one's going to be an extreme case, but you already talked about Derrick Henry a little bit. Is it a buy, sell, or a hold? I don't know that the value's ever going to get much higher than it is right now. So where do you see it at?
Sure. I mean, honestly, this sounds ludicrous, right? Because it's almost a non-scenario at this point. But I think he's still a buy. I mean, the guy's just the backbone of a very strong offense that can complement him well. I think, you're looking at the numbers he's putting up, even if he doesn't sustain them, even if he regresses back to a moderate performance for him, he's still crushing the competition, right? So if you have the capital, if you have the ability to consolidate assets, I think he's still a buy.
Oh, baby.
Nick, bring us back around too.
Last one for me, I got Leonard Fournette here. It looks like he took over that running backfield. He's looking pretty good the last couple games. Would you buy, sell, or hold that one there, Tony?
I think I'm holding him. I think trying to buy him, the value is probably going to be too high for anybody that's holding him on the roster because they're not going to want to part ways with him. I think the hold makes sense. It's really adding a lot of value. Selling just doesn't make sense to me. I don't think you're going to get the return that you got for taking the risk and holding Leonard Fournette at that, right? I mean, there wasn't always a slam dunk answer here. Ronald Jones was always in the backfield. Bruce Arians is Bruce Arians. You just don't know what that guy's going to do any day of the week. So I think holding him makes a lot of sense here, especially long-term with the performance he's had.
Nice.
Jeff, who's your second guy?
Just a guy that I've always kind of liked and been intrigued by him, but Robbie Anderson. What are your thoughts on him, Tony?
Sure. Robbie Anderson's kind of had a weird go at it, obviously, this season. His performance isn't exactly, I think, what people expected with the streaks and the things like that. He hasn't come through with a huge target share, if I remember correctly. Buying might make sense for somebody looking to try to get some value. I've always kind of looked at Robbie Anderson as if you can get him as an ancillary component of a bigger trade at a good value, I think that makes a lot of sense. A conditional buy in this case. If you can get him at a good value, I don't think you should go clamoring for him. If you can get him mixed in there, I think it makes a lot of sense.
All right, my last one's going to be a little bit of a curveball. So, Nick Stoll. Is he buying, is he selling, or is he holding?
Oh, I like it.
As a manager, as a team, as a person, I don't know how much we can discuss in my area here.
Let's just focus on his managerial decisions.
Okay. It's tricky because it's pretty easy to get the recency bias. I mean, I woke up in a cold sweat last night thinking about his offensive performance last weekend. I just don't want to see these kind of things keep happening and just trying to move past that and be as objective as possible. I think it's a buy. I mean, Nick still, as a manager, he's still making the transactions. I think that the team needs to keep growing. I think you still get a long-term outlook. It's had some bad luck recently here. I think we come out of it on the positive end. I think it's a buy.
All right.
I love the optimism, baby. I love you, Tony.
You're the taint. Still alive.
You're the taint.
Never died. All right, Tony. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. Appreciate you stopping by.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, welcome back. That was a lot of fun. Tony handled those questions like a pro. Those were all off the cuff.
What a stud!
Yep, well spoken.
Very much so.
We fired those buy-sell holds on him, out of nowhere, and he handled them well. So I'm impressed. All right, you guys know what time it is.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right, Mike, I got you here. Will Ernest Johnson score more than his projected 8.65 points this week, being the only running back available for Cleveland?
It will not happen.
That was Mike's. Ooh. Will it happen?
All right, boys, let's get it popping.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee.
All right, Nick, how about you lead us off here?
I don't know if this is a good one here, but I have Tony scoring 169 points this week.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Yeah. Shut up, baby.
Get out of here, Tony. Get bodied right after joining us. Jeff, how about you? What do you got this week for us?
Yeah, so we touched on Jordan and Monroe's matchup and how we usually roll with KMO. So there's a reason that I didn't, and I picked Jordan this week, and my absolute guarantee is Sam Darnold, where will account for a total of 4 touchdowns.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say that despite the fact that I have 2 running backs and Jeff has 3 running backs in our current starting lineups, that my starting running backs will over double the score of Jeff's starting running backs.
Oh, shut up, baby, I know
over
it.
double?
Got his ass, dude. Oh my god.
That's a guarantee.
I can't wait for this to fly back in my face. I'm gonna lose so bad.
I hope it happens so badly, because that is just a kick right in the dick.
Oh, I'm gonna lose so bad because I'm cocky.
Hey, Mike, you got to run through your the MATLAB scenarios and all that you were talking about.
So as some of you may know, some of you may not, I have been slowly creating a spreadsheet for the league. So I've been adding every week. I add everyone's scores, and it goes through and it calculates averages and last 4 games average and standard deviations and win probabilities and stuff like that. And I've been expanding it. I've been slowly expanding it every week, adding a couple things and then outputting to a new table. I have a three sheet spreadsheet of data. So a couple of the things it spits out is like your projected chance to win that given week depending on who you're playing. So, for example, I'm playing Jeff this week. So it takes Jeff's last couple games, my last couple games, does a bell curve for him, and determines what Jeff's probability of winning is. No. I got all the way through all that. I had created all of this, and I just didn't think I had, I was thinking about the math behind it, and I'm like, I just don't know if that checks out. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. So I sent Stank a message. I was like, he's going to know this. So I literally explained this, it was like I was asking a math problem from class. I was like, if this has a standard deviation of this and a probability of this, and this is the mean, and I just explained that all in text to Stank, and he was like, let me punch some stuff in MATLAB real quick. Stank runs 1 million so he runs this probability 1 million times, and he's like, it comes out to be 83.2, and I had 80 as my percentage, and he's like, so you're pretty close, but not really. Went through, found the specific mathematical equation that I needed, the statistics equation, the Wikipedia page for it, sent me to it. Explained how to do it, in Excel, you'd want to use this, and this is what it's going to do, and it was just instantly knew everything I needed to know. So
classic
Stank.
Classic.
You're a genius.
What is?
That's going to make my victory
awesome.
that much sweeter, Mike.
Yeah.
All the data points other ways.
83% living probability. Ouch.
CBS has me as at 31%. So
my most
nicer.
recent adjustment, I did some adjustments today. Actually, you're at 33% in my model right now.
Ooh.
Wow! Look at
At
that.
the time, it was 80 because I used the last 4 game score average to like determine how your team's doing at like a blip in time rather than like early stuff affecting it. End of the season, week 1 doesn't really matter. So it only used the last 4 games. So when I was doing the work was before, it was on Monday, must have been before the Monday night game. So that data wasn't in. So it dropped off a 140-point game of mine and dropped off an 88-point of Jeff. So it brought us a little closer.
Yep.
So
right.
Jeff just wanted me to explain that so that if he wins, he can just rub it in my face that much more. I know that's why he did it.
There's 0% chance you're winning in my book.
Oh, I'm definitely. We've talked about
boys
too much. Oh, Jeff,
give the boys a little bit more motivation for the win.
The locker room, ammunition.
Give Calvin Ridley a call real quick.
Got him on speed dial. Yeah.
Hey, the probability of my football team winning is this. Can you do good so it's better?
Can you do good?
All right. You guys got anything else?
Nope. I think we went through most of that.
I think we have exhausted our time for tonight. So with that, good luck to everybody, unless you're playing one of us. We'll see you.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.
Yeah.
You handled that incredibly well.
Yeah,
that
was
hands
beautiful.
are dripping. Can you see the reflections?
That was
ridiculous.
beautiful.